Hi, we're Lynn and Owen of Van Trekking Lifestyle, and we told you that we would try to pop in midweek and kind of go over last Sunday's video, which was Crooked River. So we're going to attempt to do that, see how this works. If it doesn't work, we might do something else. So here we go.
We also said that Sunday morning videos were not going to have a lot of talking, so we'd need to do a video later to kind of explain what was going on.
Guess what? He can't do it. He can't do it without a lot of chit chat.
I got a chit chat. Our granddaughters love the chit chat, and it turns out we do too.
So what we want to try to cover today is, we'll talk a little bit about Crooked River, which we only stayed there one night, and then we're going to try to cover some of the comments that we've gotten recently about our outdoor clamshell and about
the route down into Florida and how we plan that and how it's working out.
And how we book campsites and go into a little bit more detail.
The mods that we've done and how those are working out, and even a question about what do I use to edit the videos.
All right, so Crooked River. What did you think about Crooked River?
I love it there.
Yeah, it's really buggy. It is. Every time we've ever been, it's been really buggy.
They weren't really no-see-ums this year. They were biting gnats, I guess is what the locals were calling them. And sunset was like at 6 o'clock or 15 till 6, from about 5 o'clock till about 6 o'clock. They must have been hungry for the night because they were really, so we put the room up, and I guess that's where you guys had questions about the room. We put the room up, we sat in it for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then we were inside. So that probably
or we walked. I think we walked
idea.
Maggie.
We'd go back, and we will go back, but I think both of us said we probably need to go back for more than just one or 2 days.
Yeah, because I think that's the only thing that we've ever done is just, either hit it going down or coming back and stuff. We've never really stayed there and enjoyed the park like we should, because it's a really nice park. So let's get on to these questions.
All right. So the very first one came from Terry McMahon, and he got some numbers and stuff. I'm not going to say that. Why won't you let us in on the route you're taking? Okay. We actually did a video, and you may not have watched it because my first reaction was, what else can I do but show you like I did before? But then I got to thinking, YouTube doesn't show people all of our videos. So you may not have seen the other video where we talked about our route and how we planned it.
Our planned route is to try to get to the Keys as fast as we can.
Reasonably.
I mean, we're staying, 2 or 3 days, 5 days, to get there and stuff. Just whatever we could get. And then we're going to stay in the, the St. Petersburg area for a little bit, and then we're going to go up to the Panhandle.
So the next question is about our campground searches, and we did a video on that, and there were a lot of great comments there. We use CampNab, we use Wandering Labs, and we use arvie.com. Those are the 3 tools that we use to find cancellations in campgrounds. And so what would you say is different about our trip so far this year?
So far this year, we've come down here and we've actually got probably 85 to 90% of our campgrounds already booked. Normally we come down and we only have like 10 or 15%.
Yeah.
So
I can just relax because as of right now, until the middle of February, we have every day booked, and it really feels good to do that.
And we have longer days at different places booked. So like Bahia Honda, we have 7.
We probably have 15 days total over a period of 3 weeks at Bahia Honda.
Right, but it's like 3 different campsites. But still, that's a lot
still
for us. It's not 1 and 2 nights.
Yeah. The question was, and it came from Michael Becknell, do you put in multiple searches and do you alter your trip path based upon what hits? I think that's basically the gist of what Michael's asking. And in other words, if we're going to be at Sebastian Inlet, would I also put in one for Miyaka River on the west coast, and whichever one hit, I'd go over there and I'd zig back around. There have been years that we've done that, Michael, but I think now what we try to do is target an area we want to go to, and then we pick 1 or 2 campgrounds around there, and we just let whichever one becomes available be the one we go to, but we don't do a lot of zigzagging back and forth and back and forth.
Right. But this year we are going to Bahia Honda and John Pennycamp and back to Bahia Honda.
Yeah.
So we are, switching back and forth, which I don't know.
It may be crazy to do it, but it's only about an hour and 10 minutes of driving.
So we will do that.
And it's one of those things. And one of the other things we've done this year is, like she said, we've got maybe 80% of what we We've got maybe 80% of our campgrounds, probably more like 90 now. They're already booked. But we also do what I call upgrading your date to the prom. We have a few 5 and 6 night sites available at Bahia Honda, but they're not on the water side. And I have searches out there for the water side. And if those land, I'll cancel the other one and take the ones on the ocean side. And we've done that at a lot of places.
Outdoor room. So I guess several people saw us setting up the clam. It's a 5-sided quick set clam. Yeah. We've had that thing for probably 6 or 7 years. We haven't taken it. We didn't take it.
It looks like it too.
Yeah, it does look like it. We didn't take it when we had the van just because it was so big. So it's, it's set in the garage for a lot of years. But we do have sides on it. We really like it. We use it to sit in. We also use it to store our bikes in when we have it. So, I think we didn't bring it last year. We brought the little one last year. So we decided to bring the big one this year.
We wrestled about that too. The big one, the little one is big enough for the two of us to sit in. But when we put those Nemo chairs in there,
yeah,
there's not a lot of extra room. We put a table in those Nemo chairs, and that's about all you can do. The bigger one, the 5-sided one, we can put our bigger Nemo chairs in, a table, and we can slide the bikes in at night. Right. And we don't have to move things around and play Tetris to do it.
Because normally with the little one, we put the bikes in it, and we probably never took the bikes out, so we never really used it.
Okay, the next one is Sherry Weber. Hey, Sherry. She's been commenting for years and years. We love you. She wanted to know, hi, Owen and Lynn. This is a great video on how to put a temporary mod in place. How's it working out?
So this was about the mod you put in for...
Right, to not drill holes and run electrical lines, but to use, I found a really thin, flat extension cord that had a bunch of outlets and USB outlets on the end of it, and I mounted it in a way that we can power the TV and Apple TV and some other things. So,
and because this rig does not have a lot of power outlets at all. So
yeah, it's got a few up here and one way back in the back, but if you do the bed the way we do our bed, it's not accessible.
Right.
So how's it working out? When we got to Crooked River, I spent 15 minutes of the first 15 minutes we were set up trying to figure out why I wasn't getting the TV connected to Apple TV. Had nothing to do with the power that I ran up there because the TV was coming off, but it was installed in a way that the HDMI cable came out. It took me a long time to figure that out, but I did. Other than that, that's been flawless, and it's been a really good mod because I slide my clothes thing in and out, and I was always knocking the other one out, and it just makes it a lot cleaner, and I don't need to do it permanently because who knows who gets this next, if they'll want to do that or not.
Who knows if we'll use it the same way next year.
And I've been thinking about maybe we should do the twin setup too one of these days, so we'll see.
So our next question was from Hal Hirth. Is that right?
Pretty close.
And he asked us if we built a pop-up fire pit. Did you build that? You wish you did.
Well, I didn't do that. He doesn't watch a lot of our videos, or he would have known why we don't do permanent mods, because I screw everything up.
No.
No, it's actually a pop-up fire pit that you can buy on Amazon or on the company's site. And we have that, and we have a little grate that goes on top of it, and we can cook with it. It's a really good setup. Some of the best pork chops I've ever had in my life, we cooked over that one time a few months ago in Tennessee. We also have a solo stove, but I think we usually end up bringing this pop-up fire pit because it folds up so small and it just doesn't take up as much room, and I can put it in one little corner of the inside.
And you can cook on it, and it's a lot warmer. If you have a fire, you can see the fire better, and it's a lot warmer. It's just...
and you can use regular size wood on it without having to cut it in half and put it in a little solo stove. So that's what it is. The very last one comes from House to Winging T. Great video. Love watching your videos and love Maggie. We lost our Maggie in 2025 and we'll never get over it. We're really sorry. And I got to tell you, Lynn and I talk about that at least once a week. There's going to come a day when that's going to happen to us. And
because she brings us so much joy. I mean, she makes us smile multiple times a day. So I don't know what we will do.
I don't know how we'll have that. I know some of you think that's going to be silly. You may not see us for months when that happens. But anyway, the question was more, what software do you use to edit your videos? They're so good. And I appreciate that. Well, it's complicated. But here's what I do use. I use DaVinci Resolve on my iPad. I have an older iPad Pro. It's an M1 iPad Pro. It has 2 terabytes of space, and that's what I use. And every video you've seen recently has come from that setup. When I'm home, a lot of times I'll use Final Cut Pro on a MacBook Air that I have. But when we're traveling, I try to keep things simple and just, this is what I use to watch videos on and to just kind of take notes and everything and do that and do to-do lists. Having it be also what I use for editing just works out flawlessly, and I know how the colors are going to be. So anyway, that's how I do it. And DaVinci Resolve has a free version and a version you can pay one time of $89, and it's yours for the rest of your life. And it has a lot of features that I really, really love. And Lynn would attest that once we start throwing things together on it, it's kind of second nature for me to just hit the keys and just go from flying through, cutting things, and it just becomes second nature. So I like that one. The last section of questions that we got during these comments was about RV advice. We get a lot of that, and a lot of times we don't respond to the biggest one we get because I don't know how to respond, and the way I would respond would be different than the way you would respond.
For sure.
And that's about the Ekko. I'll just say up front that we've never made the video that we probably we should make, but because of what I just said, we both agree with what I would say, but Lynn thinks it's unnecessary that I say it out loud because people should be able to know that we thought the Ekko was lacking in quality. That's the nicest way I can say
But
that.
we got the very first iteration of the Ekko, and
We had a 2022.
right, and it's old, and it's, you know, and I'm sure they've done a lot of upgrades, and you know, hopefully they fixed a lot of the problems and everything. So I don't think that we should go and rehash every single thing that was wrong with ours.
Okay, I agree with that.
So
I do. I will say that we decided that we didn't tell you guys, but we decided we were going to give the Winnebago Ekko another try and get the Mercedes, the Sprinter version. And we looked at the 2025, and when we did our walkthrough, there were so many things that were wrong with that walkthrough that we bailed on that, and we bought our very first Airstream. So hopefully with 2026, it's better. So when we answer these questions about the Ekko, keep that in mind. I'm not the biggest fan, and she's one of the nicest people in the world, so she's not going to say exactly what she may be thinking with just me.
I love the Ekko layout. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was a really good layout.
That's why we switched to it.
Right. So, I mean, you know, there are good things about it. So, and I think it's just like with any RV is going to have problems. It's just some of them are worse than others. But
that's your nice way of saying, yeah. That's an Ekko for a family of 4. ERAN Moran 909 said, I love the idea of having all the storage and the size, looking at it from the standpoint of a family of 4 to take on weekends and weekly trips. Any suggestions? Well, my suggestion would be this. There are a lot of Ekko style RVs out there, and I would at least look at all the different manufacturers to see if you can see a difference for yourself. My second suggestion would be, if this is one of your first RVs, I'd try to find a used one somewhere that someone's already worked out all the kinks with the one that's wrong. That would be my second suggestion. And then
family of 4, you know, I definitely think you would probably have to have a pop-up or something.
Yeah. To be comfortable.
Yeah, to be comfortable. But I think you need to consider how long are you going to keep it, and how old are your children? Are they going to grow out of the area that you can sleep in the pop-up? And also the seats aren't really, really big.
Right.
You know, so to buckle them in, you know, for an adult, you know, for a long trip, a week trip, that might get uncomfortable too for 2 larger, you know, adults to sit back in the back.
And that comes from us having a 2022. I know in the 2025 and 2026, the passenger seats kind of separate a little bit. So you have a little bit more elbow room, and they may even recline a little bit. Wilbur Jones, what do you think about the Winnebago Ekko 22A for full-time living? Has enough storage space. Like we said, we love the design of it, right? It's still to this day one of the best designs that we've ever had.
Yeah.
with all the storage space and with all the living space, if you're talking about with just one person, or maybe one person plus a smaller person, like, if both of you aren't 300 pounds, then yeah, it's probably doable as a full-time RV. I would also, though, encourage you probably to look at other brands that may have a reputation of having better quality than the Winnebago Ekko. And I would encourage you to think about, if you're full-timing, if that's your only mode of transportation. I know for Lynn and I, we never went on a trip where something didn't happen and it messed up the trip. So if you're full-timing in it and you need to take it in for 2 weeks to get the alternator repaired, you're going to have to know how you're going to deal with that, because that's going to happen.
You don't know that.
Well, no, you're right. I don't know that for sure. I don't know squat.
He's really a Debbie Downer on these Ekkos.
I am. I'm sorry, but it's cool. All right, so the next one.
So he didn't really answer that question.
Did I? Did I not?
I don't think so. I think there's plenty of room in it for full timing for 2 people. Definitely, you're going to
has enough storage for 2
right.
people.
It's kind of like a bigger van. So if you can full time in a van, you could definitely full time in an Ekko. So
right. Deskan, Deskan. We've always seen you 3 most comfortable in the Travato. If you don't know, our van days and our van name of Van Trekking Lifestyle started when we bought I can't remember, not 2019 Travato K. And we loved it to this day. It's still one of our most favorite.
Yeah, and
RVs.
it was like our very first van, so we were pretty excited about it. We went on a lot of trips in it. We went to Alaska in it. So
that thing went all the way to the Arctic Ocean.
It was very freeing. It was very comfortable for us. So
and it was very much like this. When these windows are open in here, you have a 360 view almost, and the Travato felt the same way. So that's what this person is referring to is. We always seem the most comfortable, and probably that's true because we went from that to a Revel, and it was more of an adventure van. We're not really adventure people.
We found that out.
We went to the Ekko, and it was more of a, well, you know how I feel about that. And then now we're in our Airstream, which to us is like a Travato kind of style that we can tow behind our truck. And we'll talk about that one day soon too, about are we really van people? But to get back to this, the question was, what about a Travato KL? You can't bring as much stuff, but maybe less is better. You guys look like you would fit that better. You would be happier. Do you agree?
I don't know. I do think the less stuff you bring with you, the better. I'll definitely say that, because I feel like, setting up all this stuff around the campsite and stuff, some of it's, nice to have, and some of it's, it's just, it takes a lot of time to, set it up and tear it down. So I do think it's freeing to have less stuff.
It is, because you don't have to decide, are we going to be here enough days to justify setting the room up, or
right.
Are we going to have good enough days to put the kayak out because you couldn't bring it anyway.
Right.
So,
but for the Travato, we really like that. We really like zipping around and stuff, but every trip is different. And this Florida trip is really nice to have a home base and a truck that you can take and go to town, or go, to Stewart, or just to go to different places. Yeah. So I guess it's just depending on the trip.
And it depends also on how many days you're staying. As you notice, we said we're staying 8 days one place, 5 days here, 13 days here.
Because one of the things you have to do with a van, with a Travato, you would have to break camp every single time and take your Travato out and, make sure everything inside of it is, so you can drive it and put it away and everything. And here you can kind of leave your coffee pot out. And
yeah.
So there's good and bad things about both of them.
Right. I don't know if we'll get back to a Travato, but if we did, it probably would be the KL, because we love having all the lithium batteries in our 20XE. And it would be difficult for me to think about having to live without that now, because we'll bop into somewhere, we'll literally, you've seen us put Maggie in here, and we'll go in and go get groceries and turn the air conditioning on, come back, and we'll put groceries away, sit down and eat lunch and go. Without that becomes relying on a generator and all
Yeah.
those days again. So I think a KL would be a great thing. But man, those things are so expensive these days. I don't know if I could ever justify it. So it's very difficult. But
4:39 p.m.
she's telling me I've gone too far.
Yeah.
Do you think we've had our very last van, or will we get
I don't
another one?
know. There's times like when we went out west, I wish we'd have had a van.
Yeah, me too.
So, I think it would have been easier. But this trip to Florida, I'm really glad we have the base camp. So it's kind of, how are we going to travel in the future?
Well, we brought that up before. We've had at least three people I know of said just get both. Well, you must be made of money and not retired, because for us, we need to justify that we're going to use it enough. And that would be difficult.
And,
to have,
that was one of the reasons why we got a base camp, is because we didn't think we were going to travel as much.
So assuming we were going to get rid of this and get out of it and buy a van, which maybe one of these days we'll do, we had another question that they're considering the same thing. Sale, trade, or consignment. Came from JBGQ3OR. Hello, Owen. Thanks for your videos on a totally different topic. You mentioned you've had over 10 different RVs. We have. The question is, when it came time to get rid of them, what was the best and the easiest way to do that? Trade it in, sell it online, or a consignment? Well,
The easiest way.
Yeah. They're not the same.
Yeah.
They're not the same at all. So the easiest is what?
Trading it in. That's the easiest way to do it. It's not always the best financial decision you can make.
And the best money-wise is usually selling it yourself. And we've always had a lot of success putting not the most expensive tier, but the next to the top tier of RV Trader. We've sold almost everything we've sold on there. And usually they sell within 4 to 6 weeks. The Ekko was a little bit of an outlier, both we could have traded it and gotten probably a little bit more money than we could have gotten.
But we bought our first base camp. We bought it from
Oh yeah, we couldn't have traded it.
We couldn't have traded it.
Because we bought a used base camp to see if we were going to like it. So you're right. Okay, so as far as consignment, I think from my perspective, if you've got a good buddy that they sell RVs and he wants to sell your RV for you on his lot, maybe that's a good idea. But if you're going to do a consignment, I look at it that guy's not as motivated to sell my RV as I would be. And if John Doe calls and says, I'll offer you $10,000 less, he's probably got to call you and say, are you willing to cut your price by $10,000? And you lose that connection. I also think there's something to be said when people get in touch with us. We form a relationship that they know they can trust, that we're telling them the truth, and it sells a little bit faster, and we tend to get more money. If I were sick, or if I had to leave and go out of town or something, or go out of the country, consignment might be a great way to go. But
we've never done a consignment, so
we've never done that. So we're not very. We have no experience with that.
So as Owen said before, I think that's all the questions we have for right now. We might do these live, and we might just keep doing them like this. I'm not a big live person, but because we make a lot of mistakes, and I always hee-haw around everything. So, and he can edit all my hee-haws out. So,
most of them.
Yeah. So if you do have questions, anything you want to know, we'll be glad to try to answer them as best we can. We don't have all the right answers, as you probably well know, but we'll give you our thoughts about it. And
we will.
Yeah.
You guys kind of let us know by how well you like the Crooked River video. That I know I said we're going to try to do ones where we don't talk at all. It's just impossible for me to do. I might as well tape my mouth shut. I can't do it. So you guys like that one. We're probably going to try to talk less. Lynn will always tell me to be short-winded, and she'll always try to make me not talk as much. But we're probably going to do the rest of the videos here in Florida, kind of like the one we did at Crooked River. And either we'll come back in with a live, or we'll come back in with this kind of video. And just know that we appreciate you. It's good to be able to share these with you, and to come into your living room and to be part of your time that you spend just relaxing. And for those of you that we've gotten to meet already on this trip alone, it's the biggest joy that we feel when we're traveling. Yeah. It sounds corny, but it is by far the best part about traveling, isn't it? Too the hugs and just the things.
Just getting to know you, and it's just like I said earlier, not in this video, but like I said to him, is that when you meet somebody out camping, you already have this connection,
right?
Because you like camping,
right.
And you've got your setup. You talk about your setup. We talk about ours. So you've already got a connection there. So it's great to meet everybody. And it's we always say come up and say hello to us because we do want to meet you.
Anything to add? I think we're done.
That's it.
I think it's time for me to go cook dinner, and we'll begin enjoying the evening. See you down the road.